How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I want to tell you about something that you have to pay attention to Wednesday. This could be a good thing for crypto or it could be a bad thing, but I want to show you a recent clip just from a few days ago about a billionaire that you might have never heard of, but is one of the best investors probably over the last 30 or 40 years. And he's making a huge bet, more than many of us, on crypto. And he talks about it in a way that really you should wrap your head around it, because I think it is a good way of looking at cryptocurrencies in general, especially Bitcoin, and probably will make you more bullish even when we see Bitcoin at $40,000. Now, if you guys don't mind, hitting the like button and subscribe button. Also, there is a link underneath the video to BlockFi to get an interest rate on your cryptocurrency. They will pay it every single month, and they will give you a bonus when you sign up and start depositing. So definitely check out that link underneath the video. We're at a key point for Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of other cryptocurrencies right now. We're kind of at that support level that we've seen over the last week or so. And Ethereum's right above 3,000. We have Cardano right above $1.10. A lot of cryptos are still down today, and we're pretty much at the level that we've seen over the last couple weeks. This is about as low as it gets. Now, we do have a big event happening Wednesday, which is CPI data. So it's expected that we get around a 7 to 7.1% rate of inflation, which is going to be the highest since 1982. Now, this is a huge amount of inflation, just continues to go up. Last month, we were at 6.8. And the difficult thing is when the inflation goes up, it makes us more likely to increase interest rates, which causes a lot of these cryptos to fall. Now, the interesting thing is Bitcoin is often thought of as a hedge against inflation, but a lot of these cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, are thought of as some of the riskiest assets, which usually sell off the most if there is inflation. So we're kind of in this weird spot. Now, in my mind, there is no doubt what's happening with that. The thing is, a lot of people try to play the short term. They want to know what's going to happen to Bitcoin next week, next month, and it makes more sense to think about it that way for Bitcoin than a typical stock or equity or real estate, because Bitcoin fluctuates in price so much that if you can time it, it probably makes more sense than something like a stock that might fall 5 or 10%. But no one knows what's going to happen in the future, and Bitcoin, I think, still is a good hedge against inflation because it has been the top performing asset for 10 of the last 12 years or 11 of the last 13. So I still think it vastly outperforms, and the thought process behind Bitcoin, the true value is not just in payments, sending it across the world in seconds without having any controlling entity, but it's also having the ability to get away from the government's printing. So when there is inflation, yes, it causes Bitcoin to fall down in price, but it makes a case for the true value of Bitcoin more than ever. So as this continues, yes, people will play the short term, but there will be more long-term hodlers that will be picking up, knowing, hey, I've experienced inflation way too much. I just need something that is not going to be controlled by the government. Now, this is where I really want to get to the important part of the video, not just what's happening this week, but how you can think about Bitcoin in a way that makes sense and makes you want to hold. So legendary value investor Bill Miller is still buying Bitcoin, and he said recently that he was going to go really big into it, or that he just went really big into it. So if you don't know who he is a investment manager giant who outperformed the S&P 500 from 91 to 2005. He did one of the things that very few people can do. I think it's just a small fraction every year that can actually outperform the S&P 500. I think last year was like 5 hedge funds, and he did that for 15 years in a row. Now, he personally just disclosed that he put 50% of his personal funds into Bitcoin and several other cryptocurrencies. He's supposed to be someone that can outperform the market, and he is looking towards cryptocurrencies. Now, this is exactly what he said. I could just read it here, but I'm just going to play it for you on what he says about crypto.
On Wealth Track, why investment legend Bill Miller has gone really big on Bitcoin.
I think the average investor should ask himself or herself, what do you have in your portfolio that has this kind of track record, number one, is very, very underpenetrated, can provide a service of insurance against financial catastrophe that no one else can provide, and can go up 10 times or 50 times? The answer is nothing.
So let's break that down here for a second. He makes a lot of good points in about 10 seconds.
Has this kind of track record, number one.
So what has this kind of track record? Nothing. Nothing has outperformed Bitcoin over the last 13 years. It has outperformed every other asset class for, I think, 11 of the last 13 years. Every year but 2 years.
Is very, very underpenetrated.
Very underpenetrated. Very few people invest in it. It's doubling very quickly. If you look at the adoption of cryptocurrency versus the internet, it's still early stages, around a couple 100 million. It's maybe 5% of the world, and it's growing, doubling every single year, if not more.
And provide a service of insurance against financial catastrophe that no one else can.
Provides an insurance against financial catastrophe. It can get you away from the governments in case there is a collapse.
Provide. And can go up 10 times or 50 times. The answer?
Nothing can go up 10 or 50x from here. At least anything that you're going to be able to pick, right? There's always going to be a stock that 10x's over this year, but it's very hard to figure out what that is. Bitcoin, if it just goes up to gold's market cap, it's going to 15x. It's very likely that that happens. And right now, I think we are sitting in a good spot. I did a video just yesterday talking about the position that we're in for cryptocurrency right now and why I still think it makes sense to buy. And I still think that holds. I think we're in a very good place. If you look at any of the metrics that we typically look at, whether it's RSI, whether it's the fear and greed index, we can see that yes, it can always fall further. There can always be more fear, but we're basically at that max fear. If you look, there are a lot of posts about this going around on Twitter that the fear and greed index from last year around this time when Bitcoin was at the exact same price, there was a ton of greed. We were at 90 on the fear and greed index, basically showing extreme greed. Now we are at 10 or 20, showing extreme fear at the same price. So there is a lot of fear in the market, signaling that that's probably the best time to buy. And I'll link that video on the end screen because I overlaid the price versus the fear and greed index, and it's very easy to tell when some of the best times are to buy. Now, I want to hear your opinion underneath the video. Do you think Bill Miller going in big on Bitcoin specifically and some other cryptocurrencies is a big mistake at this level? Do you think it's going to fall further? Or do you think this is the buy that everyone has wanted for the last 6 months and it's finally coming? We finally have $40,000 Bitcoin along with a lot of decreased prices for a lot of these other altcoins. Let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much. You can check out the link down below to BlockFi and give me your opinion on this. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.